I think you're right. I think we're now on number 13.
Yeah. Okay, yes. We were on number 13 before. Yeah. And now we're number 14. So in number 13, we were talking about 3 different words that are important for us at this point. The first one is called samskaras. And then the second one is called vasanas. And previous to that, we're talking about karma. So who can tell me in a short words what is karma? Who can tell me what is karma?
It's the cause and effect of the actions you take, either if you believe it in this,
Okay.
in this life or otherwise in this life.
Okay. Yes. Thank you. How about samskara? Who remembers what a samskara is? Anyone else?
It's the choices you make in this life.
So the samskaras are the consequences of the choices you make in this life that are in your body somewhere and waiting to pop out of you when the time is right. They're like pimples that haven't come up yet. So how do you know you're toxic? How do you know you're toxic? You get a pimple. You don't know you're toxic till the pimple comes up. It's the same with samskara. You don't realize the accumulative effect of your choice until the consequence comes up. Okay, now what are vasanas?
The result of previous life choices.
Yeah, so samskaras from previous lives that have been carried on to this. Good. So now going to Sutra number 14. Tehlada paritapa faraha punya apunya hetutvat. So according to our good, bad, or mixed actions, the quality of our life, its span, the nature of birth or experience as being pleasant or painful. So because of these laws of karma and samskaras and vasanas, where we are in our life now, how we came into this life is a result of our previous choices, our previous actions. So from 12 to 14, this indicates that you as a yogic follower should plan a yogic disciplined way of life to minimize the imprints of actions. So now we start to talk about how to minimize the imprints, how to minimize samskaras, how to minimize the effect of the law of karma on you. So now we have parinama tapa samskara dukai guna vitri virodat chadukam eva sarvam vivekinaha, which means the wise man knows that owing to fluctuations, the qualities of nature, and subliminal impressions, even pleasant experiences are tinged with sorrow, and he keeps aloof of them. So, pain and pleasure are the same. They are both stimuli for your brain. It's just a judgment of how you decide to judge it that will tell you whether you're going to record it as something desirable or something to be avoided. So what we want to be, where we want to be, is in the middle. So we call this middle state a state of equanimity in the mind. What is equanimity? You're in the middle. You're neither here in the desire category or here in the aversion category. You are in the middle. Yes, you will enjoy, but you won't let that take over your life. Yes, you feel uncomfortable, but you won't let that get in the way of what you need to do. So this sutra explains that the wise man, knowing that pleasure leads to pain, remains apart from the laws and the machinery of karma. Owing to past impressions, obstructions, and anguish, the quality of any action, adulterated by its contact with the gunas of nature, so he treats even pleasant experience as inherently painful and holds aloof. So it's not like you're not enjoying. You just don't let it take over. Yeah, I'll enjoy, but it's okay if that enjoyment is not here. Because if I keep going for that enjoyment only, eventually that's going to lead me to suffer. Okay, so there are 3 types of characteristics of intelligence. So sattvic, rajas, and tamas. Okay, a wise person knows that thought transformations, afflictions, instincts, and even pleasures end sooner or later in pain. So he shuns the causes of both pain and pleasure. Eyelids being very sensitive, resist extraneous light or matter immediately and protect the eye by shutting. Similarly, if we are intellectually sensitive, we will be able to discriminate quickly between pleasant and unpleasant, mixed and unmixed, reject unsuitable thought and action. This sutra states that pure inner peace can be reached by acquiring the right knowledge that will weed out the roots of pain and pleasure. Again, I just want to stress, it doesn't mean that don't ever enjoy anything. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about where your priorities are, and feeling pain and feeling pleasure. I feel the pleasure, it's okay. I feel the pain. But that's not going to get in the way of my life. I will enjoy when it's there. When it's not there, I'm still okay. I'm not trying to avoid this pain. If I need to go through it, I will allow it. But know that that's not like that's not who I am. Okay. Everyone understand so far? 16 Sutra, Heyam Dukham Anagatam. The pain which are yet to come can be and are to be avoided. So we have samskaras, we have vasanas, we have set ourselves up through our choices for future suffering. However, it doesn't mean you're helpless and need to go through it. There is something you can do about it. So past pain is finished. So if it's a pain of the past, you're done with that. Pain that we are in the process of experiencing cannot be avoided. So if you have pain now, accept it. You are in pain. We can proactively try to reach into a pain-free state, but now you're suffering the pain, you are suffering the pain. But you can reduce it through yogic practice somewhat. Unknown future pains can be prevented through yoga. So through yoga, we can overcome the reasons why we would be in pain in the future. So yoga is talking about, Patanjali is talking about yoga as a preventative healing art by which we build upon robust health in body and mind. So even if some stuff happens to you in life, if you are healthy in your body and mind, then by default, you will suffer less. So the impact of future karmic choices is lessened. However, if you do your meditations right, you can burn your karma proactively before they ripen as a karmic event. Okay, so not so much through physical activity, but through the meditative state and the higher awareness that it brings, you're able to clean your karma before it happens to you. Okay. drishyayo samyogaha heya hetuhu. The cause of pain is the association or identification of the seer with the seen, and the remedy lies in the dissociation. So you, the ray of light that is you, that is the seer. The ray of light dropping into the body and exploring this reality. The seen is this physical reality. And sometimes the ray of light that is you forgets that it's a ray of light and thinks that it is this instrument, or even worse, something outside that becomes part of this instrument. So the ego will embrace something like maybe alcohol. This is who I am. Okay, and you've identified with that and you've forgotten who you are. So we're saying in the sutra, a wise person notices that inner harmony is disturbed when the mind lets itself be lured into indiscriminately sampling the world of phenomena. He tries to remain free by avoiding material attachment, in which objects draw the intelligence like a magnet, and the self is enticed into an illusionary relationship with the external seen world, provoking pleasures and pains. The intelligence is the vehicle closest to the soul, which must be wary of its influence if the seer is to remain free. Okay, so looking at it, we are beyond this body, but we've forgotten. We think we are this body, and this body feels incomplete because you've forgotten who you are. So you look outside of yourself for something you can put inside of yourself to make you complete. And then that makes you forget, and this desperate need to put something in you to make you complete makes you associate with these things more than the truth about you. So what you need to do now is finally disassociate from these desires, disassociate from the idea that this is you. And this is the remedy of the cause of suffering. Okay. But it's easy to say that, right? It's easy to say that, but practically speaking, how do we do it? Okay, so the sutras are getting to that. Okay. So the issue is the ego. Okay. And Iyengar says something really important here. The seat of the ego or small self is the brain, especially here. This is where the ego is, prefrontal cortex, the frontal lobe of the brain, the reference library. The seat of the great self is the spiritual heart. So the ray of light that is you can be seen and experienced most in your heart center. The ego can be seen and experienced most in the front part of your head. So if you want to be free and disassociated from the idea that this is all you are, instead of focusing on mental gymnastics, you need to feel. So dropping out of the realm of thinking into the realm of feeling, expanding your ability to feel is actually the remedy for this. Though intelligence connects the head and the heart, it oscillates between the two. This oscillation ceases through right knowledge and understanding. Intelligence is then transformed, free from polarity, pure and unbiased. Through meditation, the ego dissolves. Where? In here. Okay. So anytime anyone has anything to say, please feel free to unmute your mic and speak. Okay, otherwise, I'm going to keep going. Okay. All right. Prakasa kriya stiti shilam bhutendriyatmakam bhogapavargatham drishyam. So nature, its three qualities, sattva, rajas, and tamas, and it evolutes the five elements, the mind, the sense of perception, the organs of action, exist externally to serve the seer for enjoyment or emancipation. So the ray of light that is you has dropped into this instrument. This instrument has tools in order for the ray of light that is you to experience reality in the physical realm. The instruments that we use to experience reality are several. First of all, you have the five elements of nature itself, which allows you to feel reality with all your senses. So nature is helping you perceive it through your five senses. So your five senses and nature itself having the five elements, air, water, fire, earth, and space. And your senses that pick up the five elements are the way in which the ray of light that is you is experiencing reality. Aside from your five senses, you also have the five organs of action, which your ego reaches outwards and projects itself to create like some kind of feedback with nature. And these five active senses, the karmendriyas, are excretion, reproduction, movement, communication, and grasping. So if you remember the talk on Pratyahara from 200 Hour, we talk about the 10 senses of yoga. The five active senses and the five passive senses. So the five active senses, the way the ego reaches out to the world. Excretion, reproduction, movement, communication, and grasping. The five passive senses, the way the world comes to us through the senses and into the thinking mind. Hearing, seeing, touching, tasting, and smelling. We use all those senses to interact with reality, inside and outside of ourselves. And all of this stuff exists so that the ray of light that is you can either A, enjoy itself, or B, liberate itself from suffering. So either you liberate for suffering or you enjoy yourself, or both. This is the whole point of nature and this body. We are pure consciousness perceiving itself through this reference point. Okay. The visible objective world consists of the elements of nature, the senses, etc. All exist externally to serve the seer for the purpose of experiencing pleasures or for emancipation. Okay. Nature, in other words, is not the enemy. Nature is you. Nature is you showing you what you need to see in order to root out your sufferings from this awareness. Nature is also there, you are nature. Nature is reflecting back at you also the beauty inside of you that is celebrated externally. So two things are happening here. So it's not all work. Okay? The more beautiful your life is, the more beautiful you are inside, the more celebratory you become. So nature has two roles. One, to show you what you need to work on. Two, to show you what you've already worked on and how amazing you are. Okay, and that's important to know. Otherwise, life is just super depressing and boring if nature doesn't show you how beautiful you are. Everything that you see outside of yourself that is beautiful, the only reason you know it's beautiful is because you are the same. Otherwise, you just wouldn't see it. And there are some people that aren't there yet. You can have the most amazingly beautiful woman. She looks in the mirror and only sees happiness. Because inside of her, she has not yet gone to that stage where she has removed those stickers from her self-acceptance. And therefore, she doesn't see how people will see her and say, wow, she's so beautiful. She herself will not. So, but what she will see is how beautiful other people are. And then she will desire those other people until she figures out that the reason why she desires those other people is because something inside of her is resonating with them, which means she must be beautiful too. So, do you understand how nature works? Okay. So I'm kind of turning it around because we keep talking about suffering, but it's not only about suffering. Okay. All right. So all these attributes and virtues are established in the elements of nature: senses, mind, intelligence, and ego. Together they function harmoniously in the form of illumination, action, and inertia, allowing the seer to enjoy the world's pleasures, which is called bhoga, or divesting himself to experience liberation, which is called yoga. So you can choose in this life bhoga or yoga. Not saying that any of them are bad, just saying that they're just choices. Okay? Being non-judgmental about it, sometimes a little bit of enjoyment is okay. Okay. But enjoyment shouldn't be a matter of life and death. And enjoyment shouldn't be something that you can't live without. Okay. The seer, the ray of light that is you, is clothed in 5 sheets, the koshas, by the elements of nature: earth, water, fire, air, ether. And they're all linked to each other. So, Annamaya kosha, physical body, earth element. Pranamaya kosha, energy body, water element. Manomaya kosha, intellectual mind, fire element. Vijnanamaya kosha, intuition, air element. And finally, Anandamaya kosha, space element, the soul. Okay. All right. So talking about nature more. Sutra 19. Vishesha avishesha linga matara alingani guna parvani. The gunas generate their characteristic divisions and energies in the seer. Their stages are distinguishable, non-distinguishable, differentiable, and non-differentiable. So vishesha, the art of distinguishing or discriminating. Avishesha, equal, alike, without a difference. Lingamatra, a mark or sign. Okay. Alingani without any sign. Guna Parvani, changes in qualities. Does everyone know what the gunas are? Is anyone here that does not know what the gunas are? Who forgot what the gunas are? Okay, let me remind you. Again, Big Bang happened. Universe is created. When the universe is created, the 5 elements are there in everything. But governing the 5 elements are the 3 gunas. The energy of lightness and purity, called sattva. The energy of darkness and immobility, tamas, they're opposites. And the energy of fluctuation between the two, known as rajas, the energy of movement and change. So all these 3 energies are in everything. For example, you have an apple in a tree, and it's beautiful and ripe and yummy. You can say it's sattvic, it's pure. A human being will experience that apple as sattvic because it's just the right apple to be eaten. So it has a lot of sattvic energy. If you take that apple and you pluck it from the tree and you put it on your table at home and you forget it's there, 2 weeks later, the same apple is now brown, all the worms are alive and crawling around, and if you ate it, you'd probably throw up. So for a human being's experience of reality, that apple is no longer sattvic, it is now tamasic. Okay? It's not pure anymore. In the 2-week span between sattvic and tamasic, the apple is changing. That energy of change is called rajas. The ability to fluctuate between sattva and tamas. So for a human being that is tamasic in nature, an example of that is having the kind of depression where you don't want to get out of bed. So a depressed individual has a lot of tamasic energy if they don't want to move. Okay. The opposite of that is someone who has a positive attitude, is not depressed, is happy. So someone with a positive attitude and is happy is sattvic. Their temperament is light, their mood is light, okay, their energy is light. If you take someone depressed and you somehow turn them into someone happy, that transformational period might come with a little bit of ups and downs. And so anyone who's in an in-between state of up and down between these 2 polarities, you can say they are rajasic. And most people on planet Earth at this point in time are in a state of agitation because we're stuck at home, we can't do what we used to, something happened at work, maybe you don't have work, you're stuck with your family and you're not used to spending so much time with them and it's driving you nuts. Okay, so most of the world now is rajasic. We're in a state of fluctuation. And so if we talk about sattva, rajas, and tamas in a human being, there are several ways that we can deal with it. And the first one is food. So the food that you put inside of yourself will be able to, so if you have someone that's depressed, what kind of food do you feed them to get them out of bed?
Sattvic.
Anyone?
Sattvic. Food. Sattvic.
Not yet. Not yet.
Rajasic.
Yes, because they need to change. You need to give them the spark to change. So you need to give them rajasic food so they'll get out of bed and start moving. And then you feed them sattvic food. When they've gotten out of bed and now they're ready to work on themselves, then you give them sattvic. Okay? Because it's not good versus bad. It's what to do to put you where you need to be. Remember, tamas, rajas, and sattvas. Tamas isn't bad, and sattva isn't good. They're all unconditional love. All of nature is unconditional love. Because when the universe was born, the seed of that birth is unconditional love. So don't judge tamas as bad. It's just an energy. Right? Don't judge sattva as good. It's just an energy. So let's change the case. You've got a person that has anxiety. So a person that has anxiety, what kind of guna is dominating their consciousness?
Rajasic.
Rajasic. So someone with anxiety is rajasic. So if you want to fix this rajasic energy, what kind of food do you feed them? It's a trick question now. Everyone's scared to answer.
Well,
What do you
it's
think?
Tamasic then.
No.
That
Sattvic.
made them worse.
But it was a trick question.
I would say rajas again. So.
I would say sattvic food.
Okay, because they're already ready to change. They're already ripe for change. They're in the guna of change, but they don't know which way to magnetize that change towards. And thus, we eat sattvic foods so that that change will gravitate towards the pure. Okay. Talking about the doshas, Kathy, you are correct. Grounding foods, vegetables, and warm foods. So sometimes rajasic personalities have a lot of vata in them. And when you ground the vata energy, then you are less agitated. So the thing is, like, the gunas are separate from the doshas. The doshas are linked to the 5 elements. The gunas are governing the 5 elements. So yes, changing the elemental balance in your body will also change the energy inside of you. But there's a dominating energy above you that sometimes overrides that. Sattvic, rajasic, or tamasic energy. Okay. So in yoga, we want to move from tamas to sattva. That being said, there might be situations in your life where tamasic energy might actually do you a favor. But for yoga, we are going towards the sattvic polarity. Okay. So those are the gunas. And you know, Iyengar likes to kind of break everything down into different categories, but we don't need to know that. Okay, but what's important, this sutra analyzes nature or prakriti by identifying the layers of its manifestation, from the most specific and definable up through the non-specific, non-distinguishable, and then back into something that you're not able to perceive at all. To release ourselves from nature, we have to be familiar with nature's qualities, the gunas, and with how these are affected and changed, so that we can understand the internal rules that govern nature in all its forms, however subtle. Nature or prakriti consists of cosmic intelligence, which has the 3 qualities of sattva, rajas, and tamas. All of nature has these 3 qualities in different levels and layers. It is the changing influence of these qualities that gives form to our life and its cycle of births, and shapes our characteristics according to the nature of our past actions and experiences. Prakriti also manifests its energy in the 5 elements. So now we have earth, water, fire, air, and and ether. And the 5 senses: smell, taste, shape, touch, and sound. So all of this is nature. The senses that you use to perceive nature is also nature. So cosmic intelligence is the big picture of pure consciousness, but within us, we have our organs of analysis and experience. We have the 3 parts of the mind. So pure consciousness drops into us, and we are able to witness through the 3 parts of the mind. First, you have the thinking mind, prefrontal cortex, where all the senses are wired into. So senses are here, receiving data, wired into the prefrontal cortex. The data is stored. And we call this manas, the thinking mind. So manas, the thinking mind, reviews sensory and vibrational stimuli. Next, you have the ego or small self, ahamkara, your I-ness. So the ego is a part of you that says, this is me and this is not me. Anything that I don't associate with this instrument is said as not me. Unless I associate this with me, then this would be me. Now it's me. Okay? So in between the thinking mind and the ego is the higher mind, intuition, called buddhi, the discriminative faculty, the one that gives you that internal radar for where you need to be. In addition, hidden deep in your nature is a powerful hidden spiritual weapon called conscience. Conscience is called antakarana or dharmendriya, which embodies ethical and moral principles. So inside you have that inner voice that tells you what, where you should be. And okay, so antakarana observes right and wrong in one's conduct and motives, helps to cultivate chitta and directs it to perform only the right action. So your like inner radar for what you should be doing, and that will tell you this is where you should be and this is where you shouldn't be. Okay. So all of this is nature. Your mind is nature. Your senses are nature. This body is nature. Everything outside this body is also nature. Okay. So the 5 elements, etc., the mind. Yet all these revolve around the 3 gunas, tamas, rajas, and sattva. Okay. The merging of nature into spirit is a divine marriage which becomes possible through the work of yoga. So the ray of light that is you is witnessing nature. When you remember this, then spirit and nature come together. And we call this yoga. This is the meaning of yoga. Yoga meaning union. Union of what? The remembrance that although you are this, you are also beyond. You are beyond this body. This body is part of nature. Nature is part of this body. And both you and nature are actually beyond. you can say that in the center of your heart, if you drop into the tiniest atom in the center of your heart and you meditate on it, that's going to lead you to the heart of the universe, which is the center of everything, which is ground zero of the creation event, which is actually the source itself, God itself. And that journey is possible through yogic practices. That remembrance of who you really are is available inside you. Any amount of looking outside to find it will fail. Because only the journey inside is going to bear that fruit. Any questions? It's pretty heavy, no? Do you understand?
Sort of.
Sort of. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Bibi, may I just ask?
Yeah.
The gunas, the tamas, rajas, and sattva.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, are they the same for every? I mean, obviously we each have something of that in us. But if one person regarding food finds something tamasic, could it be that another person finds that sattvic, or would it be just the same piece of food? Say, like, I mean, broccoli. Okay, maybe not a very good example, but broccoli. Some people,
Okay.
like, if they don't like broccoli, they may regard that as tamasic. But somebody that loves green food and broccoli, that would be sattvic, no? Or is it just
Okay.
sattvic anyway because it's broccoli?
It's the consequence of what it does to you.
Okay, so
So
basically it's sattvic because it should be good for you. It's broccoli.
yeah, because the consequence is that broccoli for most people, unless you're allergic to broccoli, let's say you were allergic to broccoli, and if you ate a piece of broccoli, it made your throat tighten and you couldn't breathe, then it
So
wouldn't be
would that make
sattvic for
it
you.
rajasic or tamasic?
Well, probably
Actually,
if
if you then go to peanuts or people that have nut allergies, obviously, yeah, that would be tamasic, right? Because that can be terrible for them.
because it would, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
So it's what it does to you.
Okay.
Okay, what it does to you. Remember, we're experiencing the source. We're experiencing, like, for example, an earthworm would actually consider rotten apple as sattvic. Because it's like yummy food. And you've got this ripe apple, and the earthworm's like, what am I going to do with this? You know? Remember, everything is unconditional love. And the universe is not human-centric. Creations to try and understand the world better. But these human creations to understand the world better do not really translate to the experience of every bit of nature. It's just for us to have some kind of understanding to the meaning of our lives. You get it? Yeah.
Well, yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, Munira.
I would just want to ask, like this Rajas, Tamas, and
Yeah.
Sattvic, I think it's
Yeah.
not really related to food. It's the actions and the way we live.
It's the energy. So, which includes actions, which includes the way we live. Everything has Rajas, Tamas, and Sattva.
Okay.
And it's the vibrational quality, whether it's a fluctuating vibration, a heavy vibration, or a light vibration. So naturally, food is part of it, thoughts are part of it, actions are part of it, environments are part of it, people are part of it. all of nature has the gunas. All of nature. Okay.
It's something
Yeah.
like when we are fasting, you know, like they say, it's not that you're giving up food, but like mentally and spiritually, in speech, action, everything.
Actually, when you're fasting, you're in a very sattvic frame of mind if you're doing it right. So if you're internal and observing the way you behave, your thoughts, you're doing the prayers, then you're in a quite a sattvic frame of mind. But if you're fasting, you're right, and driving your car and being grumpy and yelling at everyone, then you're in a rajasic frame of mind.
Yeah.
And if you're asleep because you're fasting, then you're in a tamasic frame of mind. So again, it's the vibration. So in a way, Munira, you are correct. But food can change your vibration. Thought can change your vibration. Yoga can change your vibration. Environments can change your vibration. Lonica, yeah.
Yeah, that was my question, environment. Because especially in Dubai, I find it challenging to be sattvic in, in like public places.
Yeah.
Is that,
Yeah. Yeah.
how
Okay.
to maintain a sattvic state when you're surrounded by tamas or rajas?
Okay. First, pratyahara. Don't let shit affect you. You affect shit. Expand the heart space. The heart is your shield. The bigger your auric field is, the less affected you are from these influences. Your auric field is tied to your heart space. Expand your heart space. That doesn't mean become a bleeding heart. Bleeding hearts and the heart space expanding is two different things. Expand the heart space, send love outwards in all directions.
But what
That
happens?
love is your shield. Yes.
What my experience, I experienced doing that after Kriya. I went out in a restaurant, and I was with people, and I tried to be in that space of opening my heart, like you said. But then what I noticed is that I started to have lots of pain in my belly, like it's like knives coming in my belly.
Okay.
So I had to remove myself, and then
Yeah. So there's this thing that we do in Buddhism called Tonglen, where we take the energy into a heart space, transmute it, and give it back. You have to take the energy in. You're not pushing it away and sending heart space and pushing it away. This is causing that. You acknowledge that energy is a different vibration. It's Rajasic Tamasic. Rajasic Tamasic energy coming at you. But you are a straw. It comes in one end, it comes out the other end. In the middle of that straw is your heart. Comes in one end, it doesn't stick. It's important. Comes in one end, drops into the heart, transmuted, comes out with your exhale, the other end. It's no longer tamasic or rajasic energy. Sometimes reciting a mantra in your head kind of helps.
Okay, I was wondering, yeah, if you have some tips, because it's, I can't, like you told me this in 200 hours, but I just can't seem to.
Recite a mantra in your head. Whatever mantra you feel is helping you to purify that energy. Whatever mantra gives you that kind of vibrational shift. Cycle the energy, recite the mantra in your head. Because what you're doing is that mantra is going to shift your vibration. And as you shift your vibration, then you are able to do this effectively.
Isn't Is it not that the more sattvic you are, the more rajas and tamas energy you receive from out?
No.
More you are, no?
No, how can that be?
I thought that if
Sattvic,
you attract
no,
it
no.
balances out, you know?
Let me explain these energies again. Okay. Sattvic energy is energy in a pure, stable stasis. Tamasic energy is also stable, but in a heavy, low vibrational stasis. If you put sattvic and tamasic energy next to each other, they will not affect each other. It's the rajasic energy that affects and causes the change. If you are sattvic and in stable stasis, you will not be affected by tamasic energy, but you may be affected by rajasic energy.
Okay.
Because it's the agitating energy. So to maintain your stable stasis of purity and light, sometimes we need a little bit of a boost through mantras, sometimes prayers, visualization, just pray for them, or a sense of humor. If you can laugh at the joke of life, you'll be fine. Yeah, sense of humor. Okay.
Yes. So I guess when we were chatting a bit before about when you're in the world, right, and you can either enjoy it or kind of emancipate from it, right, towards it. I don't know. I mean, maybe I've missed something in prior discussions, but my mind went directly to well, then what's the purpose of the ray of light coming down and experiencing the world, right? Or I don't know if that's
okay. Yeah. Okay. You are the universe experiencing itself. Think of it this way. Pure consciousness, without expanding into these different expressions, cannot experience itself.
So,
You understand? If we went back to pre-Big Bang, everything is one little tiny point of a, how can that, it can't experience itself. This needs to happen. Nature. Now I'm pure consciousness experiencing itself from this. Sorry, I hit the camera. Lord, I hit the camera. So I hit the camera here, the cords, and it stopped. You can all hear me though. No. There we go, are good. So we are the universe experiencing itself through the five senses, through the five elements, through the organs of action, through the gunas. If we didn't have these things and we weren't here, the universe doesn't even know it exists.
So consciousness is the universe, and you experience.
Yeah. Yeah, and you are the universe. You are everything. But the universe won't know it exists unless it can expand into forms of expression that are capable of witnessing. Okay, it's kind of deep, I know.
It'll take time, but it's nice to know.
Yeah. Yeah, if consciousness didn't expand into different expressions, how could it know it exists?
But we animate it, right? By saying it to know that it exists, we're animating it, right? The idea of universe and consciousness, like we're giving it life similar to ours.
Because it is life similar to us, it is us. This glass has life similar to us. The atoms in it are vibrating the way we are. And if I go into a samadhi state and hold this glass, I might even feel that I'm the water in the glass. What we need to do is escape this, that thinks that this is only alive and everything else is not.
Wasn't it?
For all we know, planets have souls. For all we know, Mother Earth is watching us going, what are these fuckers up to now? We don't know. We don't know enough not to make that call, you know. We don't know. It's not in our senses. It's not in our realm of reality. Yes.
Now maybe Sofiana, like what Eckhart Tolle said made sense to me, was that in his path to liberation, he, on his darkest night, he said, I cannot live like this with myself anymore. And that realization made him think like there is something behind myself that cannot live with myself. So what is that behind me? And that was then the universal spark of God. And myself was the ego. So that you're the universe as well as you are the ego. Maybe that.
Yeah, that's a good way of perhaps clarifying it. But so the universal spark of God needs that ego to be able to witness creation from this angle. You know, and if you take all the angles together of all the different sparks, then you get the creator's angle. Yeah. So maybe that helps. Okay, I'm glad we had a discussion. Okay, and we're out of time. It's 9 o'clock here and it's 5 o'clock there. So we're going to end it here. And if you can review the anatomy, I know it's difficult. Review the anatomy of the lower leg and the knee. Read Yoga Body, go through all the muscles, palpate them in your own body, feel them. And again, if you want to go through the videos that I gave you about the different knee injuries and just kind of review the material that we covered this weekend so that it can be a little bit more into your library of how to help people. Because it can be a little bit tricky and anatomy is a little confusing. So I encourage you to just review the materials again this week. And if you see anyone with any kind of issues in the lower leg, see if you can help them. Okay, give them some suggestions on how to do if any of your students have any kind of feet issues or knee issues. See if you can help them with the information that I gave you this module. So enjoy and good luck with that. And I'll see you all next week.
And Pee-wee, thank you. But
yes,
about all of what we sent into you, like when do we know it's good enough to pass?
When do we know it's good enough to pass? I'll tell you what. Power lies in its effect, right? So if all the information I'm giving you is helping you to help other people better, you're passing. And that's it. Okay, so you're not in grade school anymore. I might give you something to do. At the end of this module that's going to be different than I made you do last time. But right now, all I'm telling you is review the information I gave you.
Okay, so regarding what...
Don't panic. It's only weekend one. Just review.
I meant for module 1.
Yeah, that's
For
it. That's
module
what I'm
one.
saying. Like regarding what Lonica is saying, are you going
when
to
do you
give
know
us
if we've
feedback
passed?
on the videos?
Yes, I
we
will
sent
give
in?
you. I will give you the feedback. I apologize about that. Last week I was busy. I didn't have time to review the videos. You will get feedback on WhatsApp or on email depending on how you sent it to me. But yes, I will give you feedback. Okay,
But we had to send it to
I'm
you
on
via
it.
YouTube.
Yes, whether you send it, whichever way you sent it, I will put the comments and give you feedback.
But how will I see what you think if you put it on YouTube?
No, I'm going to put it on WhatsApp. I'm going to watch it on YouTube. I'm going to WhatsApp you.
Oh, okay, thank you. Yeah, because I don't really understand this YouTube thing too well. So thanks.
No, don't be stressed about YouTube. Okay?
It took ages for mine. It
This
took
is
like
what I meant.
hours
This is what
for
I
mine
meant.
to download.
This is what I meant. If you sent me the YouTube link by email, I will reply you by email. If you sent me the YouTube link by WhatsApp, I will reply you by WhatsApp. That's what I mean by however you sent it to me, I will reply you.
Okay, now I understand. Thank you, Pee-wee.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Pee-wee, when
right.
did we get today's video?
Gecko.
Huh?
Can you still send a wonderful picture of your super Jurassic gecko, please?
They're hiding in the ceiling.
It's hiding. Okay. Whenever you
If
get
I
it,
find
I'm
him.
curious.
Yeah, sometimes he's behind the picture frames. So I'll have to lift the picture frames and look for him. And if I find him, I'll take photos.
Yeah, we had a bullfrog in India, which was the size of a chicken, and it sounded so similar. That's why I was thinking of this thing.
Maybe they're like related. I'll try my best to find him.
Evolution.
Yeah, that would be nice. And then we can pretend we're actually doing a 300 hours with you in Bali instead of wherever.
And you can show everyone the geckos. Oh my God, look what was on the wall.
I like the sound in your background. It's like we are transported away from wherever we are. You know, we are with you a little bit. So it's really nice.
Yeah, I must
In the
admit, I
jungle
love that.
with
I
all the
really like
mosquitoes, you know,
hearing
every
the
now and then you'll
noises
see
in
them
the
like that.
Thank you.
Yeah, that
Okay.
I don't like, Bali.
No, yeah. They suck. They just suck. Okay. See you guys. Bye.
When will we
Bye,
get
Pee-wee.
today's
Bye,
video,
everyone.
You will get this video.
I'll be working on my
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
I thank you.
You playing a game? No. I'm looking for them.
Just anything we need to do to sort out before we get to 200 hours, it would be amazing.